Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Communities in the Huon Valley are on high alert tonight as a bushfire edges closer to towns. At least 3 structures have been consumed in the blaze, but the extent of damage has been difficult to assess. Our reporter Michelle Wisby has been on the fire ground today and joined us now live from Geeveston. Good evening, Michelle. How is the situation looking there tonight?
Joe, things are looking pretty serious down here in the Huon Valley tonight, with a number of emergency fires still burning right across the area. Now, it is still the Huon fire that is impacting this region. It's currently uncontrollable and is putting nearby towns at a very high risk. Now, we're here in Geeveston now, where there is ash falling from the sky. It's not too windy at the moment, but I'd say it's making for a scary night for residents tonight. Now, earlier today, we were allowed onto the actual fire ground. Let's take a look now at just what these crews have been faced with throughout the week. A fire threatens to cross a country road. These conditions and much worse, what crews on the ground near Geeveston were facing today as they continue to fight a 32,000 hectare fire in the Huon Valley. Some structures already lost between the areas of Geeveston and Judbury.
The information we have at this time is 3 structures were damaged. We're still to ascertain whether or not they were houses or sheds or some other kind of building. But
more erratic fire is expected in the coming days. Hundreds of fire crews already on the ground and many more are coming. Entire towns urged to evacuate this morning.
We're doing everything that we can by setting up infrastructure to respond and protect as needed. But at the moment, it's hard to say exactly what will be lost.
If these fires go for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, then we'll certainly have to tap into North America and potentially Europe to get some degree of expertise here to assist us.
Despite the best efforts of crews, confirmation today parts of the Huon airwalk have been lost and damage done to a Lonavale veneer and sawmill.
There's been substantial damage to the veneer part of the processing mill at Taryn. The timber processing part is reasonably well preserved. We've got firefighters there actively protecting that.
Towns all along the Huon River at an emergency warning level as crews focus on protecting assets.
The Castle Forbes Bay area, possibly Port Huon at the southern end of Franklin are going to be the most vulnerable areas because that's the direction that the wind's pushing.
And it's only just the start of the traditional fire season, with no significant rainfall coming and hot, dry and windy conditions on the way.
We need significant rainfall, several inches to fall, in order to make a significant impact on these fires. The ground is so dry, or the air is so dry, that the rain that does come evaporates before it hardly hits the ground.
And an emergency level fire in the Central Plateau continues to burn, putting towns all around the Watamana area at risk.
The fire's now spotting over that control line that they established at Sinnott Sugarloaf, and so those crews have now been withdrawn and they're gone into property protection mode.
I think preparing for the worst and hoping for the best is the best way to be.
And just last night, police charged a man with burglary and stealing at nearby Police Point, which is still in this bushfire emergency zone. Police say they allegedly found him with a quantity of stolen property. And Joe, it is disappointing news for fire crews that have been working around the clock to keep this area safe.
Oh, it certainly is, Michelle. Very disappointing indeed. Thank you very much, Michelle Wisby, joining us there. And there's been another disappointing incident for authorities in Clarendon Vale just after 6 last night. A bushfire there breaking out in suspicious circumstances. Our reporter Louise Hedger is at TFS headquarters. Louise, good evening. What do we know about this incident?
Joe, police have late this afternoon confirmed that the fire that broke out at Clarendon Vale last night was caused by a car which had been stolen from South Arm, driven into the bush there at Clarendon Vale and then set alight. This subsequently started a bushfire which had the real potential to spread and cause harm. The bushland in that area is significantly dry and close to many residential properties. Fire crews, as we know, are stretched to the absolute limit across the state, with this incident stretching them even further. Due to the fire's dangerous potential, it was stamped out early, attacked on the ground and in the air. Resources which are here to fight other blazes, including a Hercules, waterbombed the fire to ensure it was totally saturated and it couldn't spread further. Now, our authorities are obviously seriously frustrated about this type of behaviour when they're working 24/7 to save lives and property. And Joe, anyone with information on this incident is asked to contact Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, indeed. Louise, what's the current smoke situation like outside in Hobart now?
Joe, as you can probably see behind me, it's exceptionally smoky here in Hobart. Just in the last hour, that smoke has just blanketed the city. It's obviously causing some issues for health authorities because it is so concerning for those people with heart and lung conditions. The air quality is 13 times the limit for an alert to be issued. So people with heart or lung conditions, or even those who are susceptible to other issues, should be very careful tonight and adhere to those authorities' warnings from the Department of Health.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much for that. Louise Hedger joining us there. Meanwhile, more than a dozen fire crews swarmed to Blessington today after separate fires broke out along Sawpit Mill Road. Tankers, aircraft and helicopters hit the fire hard and fast around midday. No homes were threatened during the blaze. A watch and act alert had been issued, but the fire was later downgraded to an advice level. The cause is still being investigated. We turn now to the day's other news, and negotiations have broken down between Healthscope and the state government over a renewed agreement on the Hobart Private Hospital. The facility's lease is now being put out to tender, and the Health Minister says he wants that new deal to include more cooperation with the public hospital and possible penalties if the provider doesn't perform.
Sharing the same city block as the Royal Hobart Hospital, the private and its 146 beds are a crucial part of Tasmania's health system. But come December, Healthscope's 20-year lease expires and that agreement isn't being renewed.
The government and Healthscope weren't able to find an mutually agreeable agreement going forward. In those circumstances, the only right thing to do is to allow all comers to put forward their best proposals.
A new 10-year agreement is being offered up for tender. The Health Minister pushing for more cooperation between public and private under that deal.
We're not just looking for the best rent, we're looking for the best mix of services and the best way to support the Royal Hobart Hospital right next door.
The fact that they're looking at more co-location agreements, which will mean it may take some pressure off the public system, is a good thing. So, even though there was no agreement able to be reached, we welcome the tender process.
The private has experienced staffing shortages in periods like school holidays, forcing it to operate on bypass, diverting ambulances to the already stretched Royal. A new deal to possibly try and stamp out those issues.
Incentives for the operator to maintain services in a way that supports the public health system.
So incentives would be penalties, essentially?
It potentially does.
It is very doubtful that he will be able to negotiate a much more complex deal in what is now going to be 6 months in order to allow a smooth transition to a new operator.
One health policy analyst says the site needs upgrades to be more attractive for an operator.
A lot of work has to be done to that building, a lot of refitting. There'll be many millions of dollars to be spent on that.
The current operator, Healthscope, says it hopes to make a successful bid in the tender process. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
A 47-year-old remains in a critical condition tonight after crashing his motorcycle at Paradise yesterday afternoon. The man was airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital for surgery, where he remains. Tasmania Police says excessive speed was the major contributor to the crash. Police are asking for any witnesses who saw a green Kawasaki motorcycle riding around the Paradise or Sheffield area at around 2:30 to contact them. After nearly 2 years of work, Launceston's historic C.H. Smith site is edging closer to completion. Tonight, we take a look inside the $33 million building as workers add the finishing touches.
From a graffiti-covered shell of its former self to a shining modern office, the new life of C.H. Smith is about to start.
The intention is to be finish the construction element of the project by the end of March, perhaps a little earlier, and we've got about a month to basically get the building fitted out.
More than 300 government workers will soon call it home, but balancing the old with the new has been a tricky job, and some original features aren't going anywhere. Architects say they set out with a point to prove.
I think people are going to be really surprised about the value of heritage buildings. There are a lot of people that wanted these buildings to be pulled down, and I think when they see what we've been able to achieve with these buildings, they'll be able to really appreciate the true value of the heritage.
The buildings, dating back to the 1830s, have long been a derelict eyesore at the city's northern gateway.
When we got the planning permit, it had been 27 years almost to the day that the majority of the site had been not used.
Around 60 workers remain on the site, adding the finishing touches.
It's been a real challenge, but one that all the guys have really enjoyed, and really enjoy the challenge of redeveloping a block that's been sitting here for 20 odd years.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A 117-run partnership from Darcy Short and Caleb Jewell has led the Hurricanes to an easy 9-wicket win over Brisbane at Blessington Arena a short time ago. Earlier, Hobart's attack tore through the Heat's top order before the visitors made a slight resurgence with the bat.
With the smoke haze blanketing the Blessington Arena sky, the Hurricanes came out firing as Jofra Archer produced one of the grabs of the tournament.
That's a good shot, but he's taken on mid-on. Is it going to be enough? Couldn't be. He's taken it.
Chris Lynn threatening to get going before Archer stepped up again to stem the damage.
Pitches up, mid-off, chest mark. That's 2 down for the Heat.
The Barbadian striking again on the very next ball, removing another one of the Heat's heavy hitters.
Oh, Renshaw, first ball. Archer, on a hat-trick, he's already taken a catch.
With Brisbane's top order battered and bruised, David Moody sensed his opportunity in his first match in purple, removing Brendan McCullum on 3.
Down the wicket, it flies over mid-off, getting back, it's taken. Oh, is it? Yes.
Alex Ross wouldn't be bullied as he set about salvaging the horror start to the innings at the expense of first gamer Jared Freeman. Jimmy Pearson doing his bit for the cause, making comfortable work of Darcy Short's spin.
It's gone way back. That is a massive Atlanta energy hit, the first 6 of the innings.
Got him too in the crowd. Pearson continued sending it into the Blundstone stands before Moody claimed his second of the afternoon in Ross. The Canes finally sending the danger man packing on 50 on the last ball of the innings, with the home side left chasing 146 runs for victory.
Hobart has missed out on hosting any of Australia's matches for next year's T20 World Cup, with part of the fixture revealed today. Blessington Arena will host 6 group stage matches, with Bangladesh and New Zealand confirmed as the first 2 teams set to compete down here over the 3 days.
We have to be realistic. The Australian games are going to draw the biggest crowds, so naturally the organisers are going to want to have them played in the biggest stadiums.
The state also missing out on hosting any women's matches, with Sydney, Perth, Canberra and Melbourne awarded them all.
Of course, we would like to have Women's World Cup games as well, but that was the decision that the tournament organisers took.
The state government committing $3 million towards the event, which begins in October next year. Moments ago, Tasmania's only player in the Launceston International, Harry Bouchier, locked in a third-round berth. The 23-year-old from Hobart upset his seeded rival in a straight sets blitz.
As the one and only local in the main draw, Harry Bouchier wasn't interested in leaving the state high and dry, taking the first set against Italian 13th seed Gianmarco Moroni in a tiebreak. And in top gear, he raced to a 3-love lead in the second set. In good news for tennis fans, Bouchier stuck it out to get the job done, winning 7-6, 6-3 to advance to the third round against top seed Lloyd Harris. Also today, a shock result. Reigning men's champion Mark Polmans was knocked out at the tournament by Frenchman Tristan Lamazine 6-3, 4-6, 6-3. While on centre court, Aussie Max Purcell cruised past the weekend's Burnie International winner Stephen Diaz. After his strong showing on the coast, the Canadian couldn't match it with the big serving Purcell, who had 12 aces in his straight sets win. Purcell will now play Italian Stefano Napolitano, the man who beat him in Burnie last week.
I'm hoping his level drops a little bit and mine gets a bit better and then I can get the win, but no, not much changes. I'm still going to play how I play and yeah, hopefully that's all I have to do.
Meanwhile, in the women's draw, top seed Laura Sigerman continued her march back up the world rankings, crushing rising star Destiny Iava 6-4, 6-1. While two Aussies put on the match of the day, with Irina Rodionova locked in a 3-set tussle with Liz Cabrera. The Russian-born Rodionova started poorly, losing the first set 6-2 before going 4-love down in the second. But she managed a remarkable turnaround, fighting hard to claw back the second set before winning the tie in the third.
Didn't think I have that many chances to win, so I just, decided to enjoy it a little more and, have some fun. And, probably I should try to do it more often.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Temperatures up to 10 degrees above average today as heat and smoke shrouded Tasmania. Campania, Friendly Beaches and Hobart Airport all on 33. Hobart City 32, Launceston 27 and Burnie 25. A light shower over the west coast but nothing of any help. St Helens and Ouse 31 degrees, Grove 28, Flinders Island 27, Smithton 26, Lowhead and Lyowini 24, King Island and Strawn 23 degrees. Patchy high-level clouds streamed over eastern parts while onshore winds produced the cloud to the west and southwest of Tasmania. A broad area of middle cloud swept across central Australia down over the southeast. A frontal band is over the Bight approaching Tasmania. The monsoon trough active over the far north. Tomorrow a trough and front will weaken near our west coast while the high pressure ridge to the northeast strengthens, the monsoon trough persisting to the north. Winds mainly northeast to northwesterly, increasing to 15 to 25 knots during the afternoon tomorrow, swells to 3.5 metres. The northwesterlies over the lakes has prompted a small craft wind alert for those regions. We also have a fire weather warning for the upper Huon Valley, southeast, where a severe fire danger exists, the northeast, east coast, Midlands and Central Plateau, all with a very high fire danger. A total fire ban tomorrow for all southern municipalities, along with the Break Day and Northern Midlands. So for tomorrow, still warm across the state, 32 for Hobart, partly cloudy for Geefston and 31, 32 for Bothwell. Not great news for the effort. Launceston hot, a late shower moving in, 30 the top, 25 for Devonport, hot partly cloudy day for Cressy and 31. Burnie partly cloudy, 25 the top, 26 for Strawn with a shower developing, partly cloudy on King Island, Curry 27 degrees. St Helens hot with a late shower, 31, 34 for Swansea and 31 for Orford. UV, very high for Hobart and Strawn, extreme elsewhere. On Thursday, a shower over the west, south and northeast, easing during the day. Fine on Friday, apart from the chance of a light shower over the southwest and northeast. And on Saturday, showers over the north, mainly over higher ground. Mostly sunny in Perth and Adelaide tomorrow. A shower developing in Melbourne, 37 there firstly. Partly cloudy for Canberra and Sydney and a possible shower for Brisbane. Currently in Hobart it's 23 degrees, 24 right now in Launceston and 22 in Devonport. Joe, it's shaping up as another very crucial 24 hours in the fire effort.
Yes, it certainly is. Thank you very much for all that information. All right, that's all from the team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you a little later with updates. Bye-bye.